trespassing the police every single day.
The computer, because it's delayed.
Oh.
Okay.
Hi.
What are we doing?
Okay, you can hear me?
I can hear you. This is Rachel and JC at Summary Judgment Talk Show.
Who are we speaking with?
This is Andrew with Charlotte County COPWATCH.
Charlotte County, what?
Charlotte County COPWATCH in
Charlotte-
Charlotte County, Florida.
Oh.
You were just talking about me?
Oh, yes, sir. How you doing? Thank you. You're paying attention to our show. Thank you very much. Hey,
Go ahead.
you guys have a lot going on. Can you give us a quick brief? I mean, I'm sure you probably have heard some of we talked about these government press credentials, but let's really push it a little further and show you how far, folks, our government's gone. Will you tell us what is happening in your town right now?
All right, so now I can see why you wanted me on the show, because as you said, this relates to what I told you that they're doing here 2 years ago in Charlotte County, Florida. There's a little town called PUNTA, GORDA. There's a little city. They made an ordinance that said you cannot record public officials in a public place and a public building. And if you do, you will be trespassed for possibly a year. 2 other people were trespassed for lifetime. They had no redress. You could not appeal that unless you sued them. So we could not find a lawyer for many years. And so Charlotte County is a county that surrounds Punta Gorda. And they said, wow, well, since they're not getting sued, let's put this on steroids. And they made a rule. They didn't even make an ordinance. They just made a rule and stuck it in the middle of 15 ordinances, rules that, basically if you fart, they can trespass you. So they put this rule in the middle of their ordinance that they voted on, but they didn't vote on the rule. And that one also says that you cannot record a public official in a public place. And I think we are up to 8 people that have been trespassed on that. If you walk into a government building with a camera, you will be instantly trespassed for a year.
Now, will this break your heart when you hear the courts say they have qualified immunity?
It does. I could not believe it when you're talking about that. What is going on in America?
I'll tell you what's going on in America. America became America because they got tired of government. America jumped on boats and they left the British. And anybody who came to challenge them versus join them and live amongst them as a friend and a foe versus an enemy. Well, as a friend, I mean, not a foe, but as a friend. Anybody who came to live with them as an ally, as a friend, was accepted. But if you were coming in to do them harm, they said hell no, and they took care of their tribe. Well, now we have grown. And basically what's happening is when you really look at where these things are coming from, they're coming from some big cities, a lot of it. In your case, it's not. But with us, they're coming from big populated states of abuse. Okay? Which is exactly the same areas that control mass populations of people. Okay? So here in Little America, we're being affected. And that's why the Electoral College, because these people are quietly abusing everything over here. Nobody over here knows what the hell's going on. Nobody's seeing it. And it's the fact that people like you have come public. Now, the only way to stop this thing was, how did we fix this country and make this country? We held them accountable. We didn't sue them. We drugged them out of their buildings and we held court. We, the people, did. We took our guns and our bayonets when they came to our front lines and we got rid of them. Right now, we have a Democratic Party that's inviting the foreigners in. Right now, we have an inside, not just a Democrat Party, it's both parties, that are trying to gain power and control. I mean, I'll give you a prime example. Kamala Harris is running for president of the United States right now. A couple years ago, I was standing on a street corner in San Diego when they were doing a function for Bill Collender, who was the sheriff of San Diego at one time and also the police chief of San Diego at one time. who later on died of dementia, and while he was sick, he actually illegally appointed the current sheriff to sheriff, which was a totally illegal thing to do, you know. But somehow they managed to pull that off and made it happen, even though it was illegal because he had to be voted in. Okay, and he was never appointed by the county. He just put the damn things on. Most people don't even know that. That's how much our sheriff knew about being a sheriff. He just put them on. Somebody said I could wear them, and he did. And he acted his way into feeling, and we gave it to him. Okay?
Right.
Until they fear Americans. And the only thing you know why foreign countries don't come invade us? Because they fear our guns. You know who doesn't fear our guns? Our government. Because we thought our government was protecting us. And we got cushy and going to school, going to our prom, going to the bar after work, going to our law firm, going to our bowling alley. We let the government deal with it. Okay? And as a kid, when I was 8 years old, if I was walking down the street with my mom and dad and we saw the cops doing something, they'd go, come on, don't watch them. We don't want any problems with them. Well, that's what terrorism is. And nobody really understood it then. But we were setting precedents. We were now afraid of the people who were protecting us. They didn't even want us watching them because it would get us in trouble for watching them. You think about it. Now we're filming them. And we're getting in trouble for filming them.
You had said that for a long time you couldn't get a lawyer interested. Does that mean you have a lawyer who's interested now in challenging this?
Yes, we finally found a lawyer that's a friend of Jeff Gray's, which is a friend of JC. Andrew Bondrew in Jacksonville is going to do a 1983 federal civil rights case against the city of Punta Gorda. That is filed. And then hopefully for Charlotte County, we have the Dandar civil rights attorney that's going to do class action lawsuit against Charlotte County. Because, like, you know, JC said something earlier that they are doing here, JC. They spent $2,000 on a professional speaker to teach their people how to violate our rights to record.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It's bad.
Well, welcome to America.
I just hope that this money they spent on a speaker to teach these people how to violate the constitutional rights doesn't in turn give those people qualified immunity because they were taught this, so arguably they could have believed that what they were doing was correct. Now the other side of it is you can go after the municipality for, practices and policies that violate the Constitution, and so I'm sure the attorneys are attacking it from both ways.
Hey,
I have another one to ask you. We have 4 different agencies in Charlotte County that conspired together to stop us recording. The elected sheriff, the elected DMV, and the elected election office, plus the Charlotte County government. We have the emails. Big conspiracy to shut us down. Is that RICO?
that is punishable by the death penalty in some cases, depending on how far it goes. Because when governments conspire to work, and this is exactly what went on, and I'm going to give you a prime example of this. U.S. Attorney Laura Duffy, Southwest United States for San Diego, she was the boss. Okay, when all this press credentialing started with me back in 2009 and 10, okay, I was standing on a street corner out in front of her federal building when she was holding a press conference on the sidewalk. And I was ordered to put my camera down because I didn't have SDPD press credentials. And she specifically said, because I don't have SDPD press credentials, I'm not a member of the media.
Oh, they have no...
This was the words that came out of the mouth of the U.S. attorney, not one of her little peons, not her hired help from the San Diego Union, who's her press person. It started with her because she said I had to do it, and I said bullshit. So she called Laura Duffy, and Laura Duffy got on her loudspeaker and said, J.C. Playford is to be removed from that sidewalk. Oh, yeah. That's the U.S. government. That's the FBI type people.
So,
but in another press conference, as I kept fighting back, and fighting back. Lord Duffy is on one of our cameras again, going, he most certainly is media. Why Bonnie Dumonis's people were pushing and shoving at me, she came in and saved me from it. And although every press camera in San Diego County was pointed at me when she said it, none of them had the brains to report about what the words were coming out of their mouths, and it affects them directly.
Correct.
Yep, they're just standing back and letting it happen to other people, and they don't realize that it's killing them as well because they have no credibility anymore, and it shows. They're out of business.
San Diego Fire Department is now doing fire lines with yellow caution tape. And the media is staying 3 blocks away from house fires.
There you go. There you go.
Oh my! If it'll make you feel better, JC, you are correct. I cannot go to any of the press events at the sheriff's office.
Go to all of them.
They sent me a document that says I must have 15,000 papers in circulation before I'm allowed.
Oh my God.
That's okay.
Totally serious.
Let me ask you this. You got a YouTube channel, right? How many total how many total views do you have?
Subscribers.
How many total views? How many total? He said in circulation. How many views is circulation? Not subscribers. Circulation is views.
You are correct. It's funny that you mentioned that, JC. 2 years ago, I had a YouTube channel that had 70 million views, 4 million views a month, 60,000 subscribers in it. And the day I went to testify in front of a review board for the sheriff, my YouTube channel came down. Isn't that weird?
What do you mean it came down? It just...
They took it down.
They took it down? YouTube did?
They took it. They did.
Because the government complained. Well, I had a government in Arizona complain about one of my videos, and YouTube took it down.
And it never came back up? It can't come back up?
Never. No, they killed that one. I had a backup channel with maybe 10 million, and they killed that one too. Now I'm shadow banned, JC.
I'm aware.
I mean, that's a
I am
livelihood.
shadow banned to the max.
That's a livelihood that they're killing. That's a livelihood that they're killing there.
And that's what your government's trying to do, is to destroy our livelihoods. Because if they destroy our livelihoods, then we can't afford to sue them. And we can't afford to pay for the gas to go down and film them. And that's what it's really all about. We had a Lieutenant Donna Sutton from the San Diego Sheriff's Department tell an editor, a local news editor in San Diego County, they were doing a meet and greet. And the news editor went, I'm thinking about hiring some more camera folks. And Lieutenant Donna Sutton told this news editor, well, you better not hire J.C. Playford or we'll come after you.
Wow.
But yet the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is pulling this bullshit.
I don't think they put any thought into that decision. I really don't.
And I think it's going to come back to bite them in their ass when you do your job and close it out in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, they just didn't put any thought into it. So can you tell us a little bit more about what you do down there in Florida? I mean, now that the YouTube site is shut down, you know, what have you done to carry on?
Okay, so I've done this for 6 years. I unfortunately experienced corruption here, and that's what woke me up. So that's when I started COPWATCH. I do, unbelievably, the Facebook page has lived through all this. Charlotte County COPWATCH, that's on Facebook. I started another YouTube channel, but JC just admitted what's happening to some of us. It is so shadow banned, I maybe get 300 views a video. It's disgusting. But I don't care. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because, like JC said, if we don't fight, then we are not free, correct?
Correct. Yes. Hey, how close to Fort Lauderdale are you?
That's approximately three hours away.
So you're like dead between St. Augustine and Fort Lauderdale.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, because I'm going to be in Fort Lauderdale.
Punta Gorda? Is that where you're at?
Yeah, Punta Gorda is in between Fort Myers and Sarasota.
On the west coast.
JP knows that area.
Yeah, I'm going to call Jeff Graves. I know he's off on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I'm going to call Jeff Graves immediately after this show, and I'm going to ask him if he wants to drive down there Monday night and pick me up at the airport, because I know he's off for a couple of days. Maybe him and I can go down there. I got a question for you. When they're trespassing, are they putting you in handcuffs?
No, the trespassing starts with a warning. If you get the warning and you still do not leave, oh my God, they will arrest you.
Okay, well, then I guess I'm going to jail.
Oh, wow. None of us have went to jail. That is up to you, but I will tell you, this sheriff is completely out of control here.
That's okay. I guess I'm going to jail. Because I've got no... If Jeff Graves will run down there with me Monday night when I get off that plane,
right,
I have no problem in going there and doing what needs to be done to fix America. None.
And you know what the odd thing is? Why does a private citizen have to hire an attorney to sue for a civil rights violation under 1983? Why doesn't the state of Florida say, these municipalities are state-created jurisdictions.
Right.
They are acting illegally. Why doesn't the federal government say this state is acting illegally? I mean, that kind of flies in the face of Joe Cool wanting states to be able to do whatever they want to. But on the other hand, states and the federal government, they should step up to the plate when they see illegal activity going on, but they don't.
It's funny you mentioned that, because the FBI and the federal government is participating in these crimes. I mean, when I have the FBI, PIO in San Diego standing in front of me and say, we don't talk to anybody who does not have San Diego press, SDPD press credentials, they are a part of the problem.
Wow.
We were sitting...
Wow.
In one of the shootings they did in San Diego, they decided they wanted to hold a town meet and greet, and they brought all these cops in, and they brought the FBI in with, and you're going to love this. So they had all these scumbags sitting up there, these supposedly leaders, sitting up there in all these chairs, and you had all these pissed off, like, because it was an Asian person they shot this time, and they were pissed. And some of the black folks and the people of color were pissed. There were a few white folks in there, but it was more the people of color that were pissed, And that's the best way I can say that, because I don't know any other way to describe that,
Correct.
And they had an FBI agent sitting in there. Now, this is a public open forum, and when I asked a question, SDPD Chief Shelley Zimmerman refused to answer it. And I go, see, that's your problem, folks. Right? She goes, we refuse to answer anything from J.C. Playford. That's the chief of police in a public forum with all these people. And the people started to get mad. But then I turned to the FBI. I go, why are you here? He goes, well, we're here for, talk about any civil rights violations that may occur.
Exactly.
It's like, well, if you're here, you're on the wrong side of it. What are you doing sitting with them? What are you doing sitting with the cops, the ones who are committing the crime?
Correct.
Why are you not over here representing me and arresting them?
Yeah, because there are analogous statutes to 1983 that the government can bring against government officials, state and local government officials, but they hardly ever do. They hardly ever use it.
Now I don't know.
Wow.
Now I don't know if you saw a video I just posted called "Piece of Shit with a Badge" Part 1, Part 2. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I did. Oh my God, that was bad.
Now, how much further away could I have been from filming these guys?
Correct.
How much
I agree.
further away could I have possibly been where you got to yell down the street at me?
Right.
I mean, literally. Oh, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. You see them, right? On that particular note, the FBI with that video should have went, what the hell went on here? This is a crime. But instead, you got to go to the department and complain.
Correct.
Because the FBI ain't going to do it. Go ahead.
Can I mention that this disease of tyranny is spreading? Did I tell you the local courts here, the Charlotte County Court and the Lee County Court, and I do believe it was because of me, I was in there. You know and I know at the regular courts in the hallways, we should absolutely have the right to record. They have also enacted no recording audio or have video in the public areas of the court?
Well, that's because they try to claim they're trying to protect their jurors. Which,
that is one of the reasons that they gave, correct?
and one of the other things is that in San Diego, as sickening as this sounds, they literally line all these people up in the hallway. They give them a public defender, and the DAs sit over top of them while they're talking to their clients.
Wow.
And they don't want you recording this.
Wow.
If you record in a courthouse, what they're really concerned about is that your camera might catch a judge or a cop doing some corrupt stuff. Because the only way to fix the courts and the courthouse is to put a camera on every judge in America, put a camera facing at every district attorney, and put a camera pointed at every supposed bad guy.
Well, see, I have
And
some,
the witness stand.
I have some thoughts on that. I really believe in and advocate for, and American News, in fact, does go into courtrooms in Connecticut and record what happens in the courtroom. And that doesn't happen in Connecticut very often. In Connecticut, throughout Connecticut, you're not allowed to record outside the courtroom, and you're not allowed to record inside the courtroom unless you're a media organization. So we get back to that whole issue. But I do know that judges don't usually walk around the hallways of courthouses for a lot of reasons. So you're not really going to catch a judge doing something bad, usually in a, you know, whatever. I do know that sexual assault victims, including children, go to court. There are jurors that go to court. There are people that are innocent because they haven't been proven guilty who go to court.
But it's a public place
arrest.
about what's happening.
Yeah,
And as long as a public place...
Somebody better start paying attention to this new programs that are on TV about first responders.
Yeah.
And the cameras right up the police.
Well, yeah, I was just getting ready to cover
That's
all
right.
that. You know, I don't know if you've watched any of these first responders or these cop shows or any of this.
Live PD, correct. Live
Right.
PD. All my customers love live PD.
But it's kind of funny how these cameras are with the cops and around the cops, but these live PDs aren't allowed to report on the cops doing anything bad or their shows get canceled.
Well, of course. Of course.
Okay, so therefore you only get to see controlled what the government wants. And this comes right into exactly, let's take Jeff Gray's area.
Well, you know what, though? Let me interject there, and that is a good point. And by the way, that was Ed Peruta, who's off camera, and he's my usual co-host on the show, but he is 3 weeks out of a heart transplant, 4 weeks out of a heart transplant, and he's just kind of returned to the office, and he couldn't help kind of joining in. So that was him offering his input on the first responder. And you know what, you're right. If first responders and police officers can be recorded by these shows, and people who are caught on video may be innocent. They haven't been proven guilty yet, that's for sure.
That is correct.
And they may go to trial and it may be not guilty, or they may go to court, the case may be dropped, which means their case is dismissed, and it shouldn't be a matter of public record. At least in Connecticut, it's not a matter of public record if your case is dismissed. So one of my arguments why there shouldn't be recording in a courthouse is you got people who maybe are going to be found not guilty. They're never going to be proven guilty. And why should they be subjected to having their image out there as being in court, whatever? But I guess we're already doing that out on the streets.
We are doing it.
So why can't we do it in the court?
Are you kidding me?
Right. So their excuse kind of falls apart.
Right.
On that end, at
the
least.
courts want you to believe that you have the right to film the government in action, but the courts don't want you to film them.
Right.
Okay. This law that you can't film a sexual assault suspect, direct violation of our constitutional rights.
Well, suspect, I think victim is.
Victim, I mean.
Victim, yeah.
Not the suspect.
Yeah.
But thank you for correcting me on that.
that's okay.
But for us to not be able to identify a sexual assault victim, what makes him any different from a burglary suspect?
Well.
Or an attempted murder suspect? Or
See, guess what they tried to charge me with? for doing a story on a sexual sexual assault victim. That it happened 1 year ago. I was under investigation for 9 months because they were trying to get me on exposing a victim's name. I could not believe it. Rutherford Institute almost took that, JC. They dropped it when I mentioned Rutherford Institute.
Hey, are you ready for
Nice.
this?
I'm familiar with
San
them.
Diego sheriffs opened up an investigation and tried to have me were trying to arrest me. They were having me followed around by sheriffs, including a lieutenant at one time, to try to bust me for posting illegal signs because I was posting signs on trees in Ramona telling people what to expect from their sheriff's department. And I would post them. I would post these signs next to
Right.
yard sale signs, you know, things of that nature. And we would film the cops pulling up, driving up, and taking my sign down, but not the yard sale sign down.
That's kind of like a couple years ago when they took the Trump sign down in my yard, but not the Clinton sign across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, so where does it end? It goes back to 1 is by land, 2 is by sea, but we need to add it. 3 is if they look like you and me.
Well, I'm.
Can I tell you,
Go ahead.
can I tell you one more tyranny story where this virus is spreading? This is the last one. We just found out Fort Myers City Council wants to pass an ordinance. If you say a bad word in a meeting or hurt somebody's feelings, you can be fined $500 and 60 days in jail.
Great, I got a way to tell people to F off all day long. Do it.
Oh my God, what's
There
going
you
on
go.
down there?
I guess I'm going to jail for a couple things. Who can I swear to?
I'm telling you, it is out of control down here. That's why we've been reaching out to you, Jeff Gray, because this feels like the Constitution doesn't even exist here.
Okay, so we got another call coming in. It sounds like you two are gonna be following up on something maybe before Monday night or whatever. So
Yes.
it was a pleasure talking to you, and we'll look for you. Okay.
Hey, and start chiming in more with us a little bit more often, if you would, please.
Okay, all right.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
They got problems
Good
down
say.
there.
Oh man, that was a pleasure. Hi, this is Rachel and JC on Summary Judgment Talk Show. How are you?
Hey, Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH. I am using any video here under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.